You're listening to Mornings with Bruce Allen.
Get up.
Their morning show is hilarious.
Right here on Texas46radio.com.
So we're doing a fly by the seat of our pants Friday, a day early on Thursday. It's going like, what a better way to celebrate the day after Halloween and the great temperatures, but to have a couple of my friends here in the studio. And I want to welcome Eric Walker and Will Stevens to the studio. Guys, how you doing, man?
Good.
And you'll have to listen to this later, like I tell all my guests. If you're not wearing the cans, you don't get to hear all the applause. So there's a studio audience right behind that black curtain there that we, I pay them literally nothing to sit back there, and only once I hit the shock buzzer do they do anything.
Excellent.
I have no applause sign here, so thanks for making the trip in. Let's check your mics here real quick to make sure we're good.
Okay. Checking mic. 1, 2.
1, 2, 3.
I think we're good. So I can't make you sound any better than you do right now. So
Story of my life.
That's how did we like the weather change up, guys?
The weather change up is great. Timing was a little rough for Oakwood, but love the change in weather. It's finally feeling like fall.
So were you at Oakwood too last night?
I was not.
Okay.
I was headed home.
Okay, so I was out going to get Taco Bell last night when the heavens opened. So you were there, Will.
I was.
Tell me how the experience went this year.
Well, the experience this year was similar to last year in the fact that we spent all day setting up. We got all the inflatables. Went and got the. My group did the Wiggle Waggle train. So we had the 4-wheeler and the train all ready to go. Everything is set, ready to go, and the heavens opened up.
Oh my gosh!
Everybody scattered, and it just soaked everything.
Oh, and I told Shannon when I drove past, I'm going like, wow, they pulled out all the stops this year. Look at those inflatable things out there. They're huge, and they're like, wow. But there's nobody out there because it's like they're running for their lives.
We tried to go with the water park theme, but that didn't fly either.
That's good. That's good. Oh, have you met Eric over these?
I have met Eric. Yeah.
A couple times.
So okay. So how long have you guys known each other?
I don't know, Eric. Help me out. It's been
probably right around 20 years.
20 years?
Late
Close
90s,
to 20 years.
Mid-90s, late 90s.
And did y'all meet it?
We met at the gym. At the time, it was McKenna Fitness. It wasn't YMCA yet, right?
Right.
It was McKenna Fitness, and he was the guy on the last treadmill running with it like at full speed all the time.
Sounds about right.
And then I would see him in the locker room, and we would just visit and make small talk. We kind of got to know each other then.
Very cool. Okay, family life. Let's, it's not, we're here to talk about, oh, by the way, just to let everybody know what we're here to talk about, the world of running and cycling. But people that don't know who you guys are, I consider them fixtures here in the town of New Braunfels in one form or the other. And so let's start with you, Eric, in regards to your family.
Married to my wife, Gina, who's the general manager at the Green Mansion Inn.
Okay, cool.
Have 2 boys. One's a 13-year-old at Oak Run and a 10-year-old at Lamar. Both involved heavily with soccer. Okay. So that's the way we spend most of our time now, chasing them around.
Chasing them around, that's cool. How long have you been married?
Been married, put me on the spot, 15 years.
Cool, very cool. So now Eric is the gentleman that, before all the construction on Loop 337, where he's most notable for being the gentleman running with the, you'll have to help me on this one here. He's running, but he's carrying this T-shirt. Now, it's whether that's a counterweight, I don't know exactly what that is, but I think Shannon says I think he starts out with that and then gets rid of it as he goes through.
Yes.
And what a better way to make sure you don't lose it by holding it in your hand. So now that I've explained myself on that, know what that's all about. Great to have you on.
Thank you.
Will is going to represent the cycling end of this show this morning. And it's kind of how I would intro Will here is like I'm late. I'm late for work, and I'm going through green. It's like, oh gosh, here I got stuck in a train. But now on Will's end, it's like, here we're going somewhere in particular. It's like, oh my God, I forgot that marathon was today. Look at all those bikers. And I got to ride behind them the whole. Oh, that's Will. Hey, Will. So, tell me about your life and family, man.
Well, I've been married 25 years this summer, so we're going on 25 years. We have 2 kids. Our oldest son, Jacob, is married, just got married this past year, so that's fun. We have a new daughter-in-law in the family, and then our daughter, Haven, is a junior at Dallas Baptist University. Jacob's graduated from DBU and working there now, and Haven's there as a student. So we're empty nesters and enjoying the empty nest.
And make sure you, and you're married to?
Della Stevens.
Okay.
She works with me. She's the creative arts director at Oakwood, and I'm the worship pastor at Oakwood. So we work together quite a bit, and it's a good thing that we like each other.
I know, because if you hadn't mentioned her name, she'd have said, "What? I can't believe he said hers. Why didn't you say?"
Right, that's right.
Okay, all right.
Thanks for helping me out there.
So we're going to be talking a bit about running and cycling this morning, not only about the logistics of it, but most importantly, safety. I think that's more about what I want to talk about than a lot of the other stuff. It's kind of like the safety is the most, I think, one of the most important things to watch out for you guys, period. So in regards to running and cycling, do you wake up one morning, say that, I'm going to do this thing a little more than the average person does? Or what makes you decide to take it up to the next level? Because I have a bike, and I run only about 20 yards before I'm already winded and stuff like that. But what makes you decide to do what you do?
For me, I think it's just the way I feel afterwards. Just a more clear mindset, more relaxed, less anxiety. Just generally the overall feeling I get when I'm done.
Okay.
That became an addiction for me.
Okay.
So and actually a necessity for me.
Okay. So do you think you do it more that you love it, or for the health, or for a combination of both?
For me, it was actually weird because I didn't start. I love being outdoors, and for up until the mid-90s, we had a hunting lease locally where I could go and spend hours and hours outdoors. Well, when we lost the hunting lease, I really needed to find something else to do, and being out and I wanted it to be outdoors, and so I started jogging. Started basically a half mile and just gradually built up to
what you do.
To what I do.
Wow, awesome. Will?
Well, I started out as a runner, and just through time and some back injuries, some back issue stuff, my doctors basically said you got to stop running. And along the way, I had done a triathlon, which of course made me do a leg of cycling, and I remember enjoying it. So my kind of go-to after running was cycling. And so really, it's fitness, it's exercise, it's always good for the body and the soul to exercise. I think we're designed to do that, and so that's why I do it. It's my way of exercising. Again, it used to be going out for a run, and then I had to find something else, and I found cycling.
Okay, cool. Now, you said you started out running. Did you ever do any biking?
I didn't start out biking, but I did try biking just to cross train a little bit. Okay. But ended up 2 out of the first 3 times I went out with my bike, I ended up carrying it back to my house. So that kind of discouraged me.
Yeah, that could be a little discouraging.
Well, you wanted a cross train.
Right.
There you go.
That's true.
Lift, let's go. Come on, Eric.
Lift and run.
All right. So for those wanting to take it up a notch, let's start with diet. Let's start with food and beverage consumption do's and don'ts. Can they be the same, or are they different for cyclists versus runners, or are they pretty close?
I would say they're. Are you talking about like race day or just in general?
We'll talk about race day.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and talk about just in general getting yourself adjusted or acclimated.
I have a friend that I don't like very much because she always tells me that diet is 80%. Food and 20% exercise, or that weight loss and being healthy is 80% what you eat and 20% what you do,
Okay.
which is hard for me because I've always been a eat what you want and then work it off by working out really
Sure.
hard. As I've gotten older, it's have to realize that there has to be a really, really good balance of healthy diet plus exercise is the key to healthiness. Who knew?
Right. Exactly. Once you start feeling it, you need to make some adjustments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say eating to go ride a bike would be real similar to eating to go run because they're both cardio exercise. And everybody's going to be a little bit different there, but I'll hear Eric's take.
No, I mean, I agree that it should be. For me personally, I've always been a eat what you want, with the exception of the day before race day and the day of race day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, actually have been asked that question a lot as far as what do I eat? You must have a really strict diet, and I really don't. I mean, I'm terrible with junk food. I eat a lot of candy, drink a lot of Cokes. Fortunately, because of the mileage I put in, it doesn't affect me.
Okay.
But like Will said, the older I'm getting, the more I'm realizing that I do have to cut some of that stuff out unless I want to exercise even more on the other side.
So what are some definitely some things that you recommend you give up that you said stay away from that stuff definitely because that'll screw with your body.
My big thing that I've given up is just fast food, and the occasional. If I do eat fast food, it'll be the occasional grilled chicken sandwich, or I'll try to keep it easy. We pick up a lot of food around town, but getting fast food, getting the cheeseburger and fries, that kind of thing is absolutely not a habit for us. It's very rare, and then when I do, my body doesn't seem to accept it anymore.
Yeah,
so.
we're going to talk about that too in just a little while. But
Yeah.
it's my cohort in crime in the studio kitchen there that tells me a lot of times you really need to ask him this question or that question. So you'll know where some of these come from.
Yeah.
What do you give up, man?
The things that I gave up when I really started focusing on my health was I gave up bread, cheese, and anything fried.
Okay.
And I tried to reduce the sugar intake with my drinks, so cut down on the Cokes.
Oh my gosh! To only imagine how much healthier I could be if I did at least some of that. It's you get to where you do take away a lot of it, and then you start to feel better, and then you accidentally go back and have some of that, and start to go like feel some of that ache and pain coming back again, going like if I would just stop, it would do it. But it's willpower is a big. Why do all these little puns and phrases always have to be like your name?
I don't know. It's a hard thing being God's will.
Oh, you know what? I'll have to put that in there.
There's another one.
Okay, so now you'll have to listen to the recording to catch that. What comes out? Let's see here. Now we've got through that. Let's go with special equipment. And I'm going with special equipment in regards to like the bike, clothing, shoes, and stuff like that to do what you do. Anything special that you would use. You're not going to like for when you're going to purchase a bike. I doubt that you're going to go to Walmart and Target to pick up a bike like that.
Right. Yeah. When I got into cycling, it was definitely a world of difference as far as equipment and preparation. Obviously, the bike in itself. So when I first got into cycling, I borrowed somebody's steel frame 10-speed, and started training on that. And then somebody gave me a hybrid kind of mountain bike kind of thing, and I did the Tour de Green years ago.
Okay.
And went up and down those hills on an old steel frame bike, and just about killed myself doing 36 or 40 miles, which is not a lot on a road bike.
Yeah.
And everybody said you've got to get an actual road bike, which I didn't know very. So I went and shopped around and bought a used one online and got an aluminum frame with carbon pieces and makes it much lighter. Mm-hmm. So my first fairly nice road bike cost me $800, and that's on the low end of things. Then you have to buy shoes that snap onto the pedals, and that's if you have pedals. So in the world of cycling, if you spend $1,000 on a bike, it might not have pedals.
Oh, geez.
So you have to buy the right types of pedals that go with your bike. you can get into gearing and ratios, but that's much more technical. But all the components that make up the bike, then you're really smart to wear a helmet. It's not required by law or anything. It is required on event days when you're with an event to wear a helmet.
Sure.
But it's pretty foolish to not wear a helmet these days. And then little things like gloves, of course, the padded shorts and the funny outfits they'll see us in, all make a difference. And so it's a lot of gear that goes into cycling because you're buying a machine, you're using a machine, the bike, to help you do the exercise. And just like having the right tool for something, if you don't have the right machine or don't have the right bike or don't have it set up right, it's not going to be enjoyable because it's going to be uncomfortable.
Okay, so is this like NASCAR where you're the outfits that you have, are you sponsored by the folks
No.
where all the sticker, where all the, I never really, y'all are always moving, so I never
Sure.
really get to see what's all on those things.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what is it just stuff
We
that's
wear a
come
lot of
standard with it?
jerseys from events that you might do, but the only sponsor I have is Team NB. I'm on Team New Braunfels,
Okay.
and that is sponsored by the city.
Okay.
So when we go do rides, we wear our Team NB jerseys.
Okay.
And that'd be the only group right now that I'm sponsored by.
Okay.
But no, most of those are just events we've done, or if we've done well at a fundraiser like the MS Ride, we might have a jersey from there, or your favorite college or whatever.
Okay, so just one more question in regards to equipment there. What are those tires made of? They look like about the size of a Twizzler strip.
They're just tires. They're rubber
solid,
tires.
They're solid.
They're not
rubber?
solid. No,
They're not.
It's a tire just like you'd have on your bike. There's a tube inside. I think there are some, if you get high end to tubeless tires, and I'm not real sure on that because I'm what's known as a weekend warrior,
Okay.
which typically is a cyclist that'll go out and ride on weekends
Okay.
because we work full time. Sometimes we'll get out during the week, but most tires are just
Oh,
they're smaller.
Now that I
they're
think about
narrow.
it, a solid tire would be heavier. I would than the one with the
Sure,
tube.
yeah. The tire itself is
Okay.
not solid rubber. It's got a tube in it. It's got air in it. We pump them up much higher than your average rider. So our tires are around 100, 110 psi, which if you
Wow.
think your car is
Yeah.
like 35 or 40, it's designed to hit things and have cushion. And
Okay.
these tires are designed to be fast.
So I'm not really the only one who's thought that those would be solid tires because of the size
Yeah,
of them.
yeah,
So
they're
you would think that
small.
there's no way that a tube could fit in there.
Yep.
That's cool. Now to you, sir, I don't think you have quite as much in regards to, but any specialty. Shoes, socks. How does it work with you guys?
For me, the most important thing is comfortable clothing or shirtless,
Or
of
lack
course,
of,
or lack of, right? Cushioning socks, and what I've always done is I get a nice fitting heavy shoe to train in, and then a very comfortable light shoe to race in.
Okay.
So, and a couple ounces difference, you'd be surprised over the course of
Oh,
a half
gosh.
a marathon
Yeah.
or a full marathon, how much difference just having that couple, 2 or 3 fewer ounces per foot
Okay.
makes a difference.
So what are you
as
looking
far
for in a
as-
shoe?
You really have to go. The best thing to do is get an orthotic fitting.
Okay.
And one thing that I did years ago that dramatically reduced my times was I went to the chiropractor and got an adjustment, and he was nice enough to do custom orthotic molds for me.
Okay.
Had shoes, with those molds, I was able to put orthotics in my shoes that took away all back pain, knee pain, and because of that, my times came down dramatically over the course of just 2 or 3 months.
Okay, let's talk just a second. Talk about that. Lots of folks have, including myself, my wife, and back pains and stuff as we get older. Does doing what you just said really work?
Yes. I can't speak for everyone,
Oh,
for
sure.
sure.
No.
But I can say without a doubt that it worked for me.
Okay.
We're talking about for example, doing a marathon in March and doing it in just under 4 hours, getting custom orthotics made that I wear in my running shoes, and I transfer them to my work shoes as well.
Okay.
And than going and running in under 3 hours and 10 minutes in, just 6 months later. So that's 50 minutes difference over a matter of months, just because I don't have the pain or the recovery time daily from.
Very good. Okay, just real quick. You could say, or I'll pass. Cost-wise, just an average in regards to doing the padding or whatever the inserts.
For the orthotics, I think the hardest thing right now would be finding somebody to do it. Getting adjustments the same as going to your, whatever chiropractor you might use.
So you need like a referral or something?
I think I have asked about it, and I think they are referring that work to other people. So you would have to take basically the molds and then go to let's see. Actually, I think you would actually have to go to a different, like a foot doctor, to have the molds made.
Okay.
To have the orthotics.
Okay,
created.
That's almost like.
So back when I did it, I was able to just cut out that middleman. But I do think the chiropractors are referring you to.
Okay, so just do your research before that comes on.
But cost-wise on the shoes, I've had shoes that I received as gifts that were more expensive, but for me, I've always bought shoes in the $60-$70 range. And like Will said, I mean, basically for a runner, that's all you have. I mean, the expense.
All right. Well, that's perfect. I mean, that's so those that want to start doing something like that or increase their level could look into maybe just taking it up a step at a time.
Right.
See what works for them. Now, Will, in regards to you,
so cycling is a little bit. It's a little more.
It's a little more.
I really miss the simplicity of running, because you can throw your shoes on and go out your front door and get in a 30-minute, or so run in your neighborhood. With cycling, you can't really do that unless you have some hills and you're going to just work hills. But so my bike now, I ride an all-carbon bike. It's a little over $2,000. And then, like I said, you have to buy the pedals, which if you don't have them already, and you can take them off your old bikes. But pedals are standard $100, $150. Okay. Shoes are about $100. The padded shorts are about $40. So all those things add up. Jerseys can be about $50. So it's quite a bit to, and that's all, I would say, pretty decent range. You can go really much higher than that.
Sure.
If the bike is harder to pronounce, it's probably more expensive.
Right.
Especially if it sounds Italian, then it's going to be really expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can go lower than that too. I certainly recommend starting with used gear. If you're, that's how I started. I did buy new shoes and things like that, but the first bike I bought, like I said, was used. A lot of people buy equipment for cycling and decide they don't want to do it, so they're selling their equipment used, very lightly used.
Okay.
And a lot of people that love it will upgrade and sell their equipment used.
Okay.
So there's a lot of ways to get started in it, and then if you find that you like it, certainly go to a bike shop and get some good advice and get fitted right, and that, the right size bike and frame and all that makes a huge difference. So yeah, it's I'd say I would start at about $1,000 initial investment.
Okay.
Which might be really high for some people.
Well, sure.
Or I always say find out who's into cycling and borrow equipment until you know you want to do it.
Yeah, because it is a big investment. It's kind of like, then you're going to be on the selling end of it if you don't like it.
Exactly, and a lot of people have multiple bikes. I used to have multiple bikes, but a lot of people will have their old bike and their new bike, and so they'll let you borrow that kind of thing. But frame size is important. So, and then on the now that I'm more invested, your bike probably will end up being a little over a couple grand, and but that's brand new.
All right.
And that's all carbon, and so just things like that.
Okay, well that's cool. Good for everybody to know that, because that's a pretty important factor of what they decided they want to do. Hey everybody, you're listening to Intelligent Conversation with Bruce Allen, Will Stevens, and Eric Walker. It's quiet. It's good conversation, man. I really appreciate you guys coming in. I know you didn't know what to expect. Going like, I know this guy, but what can we possibly talk about? But see, we've already been talking a while, and it just seems like the time's just flown by, which it has. Do I have something in my teeth?
No, but I didn't know it was called intelligent conversation. You didn't tell me that.
Oh no! See, I can't say that. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come in.
I wouldn't have.
So, but
Wouldn't have
Shannon,
been invited.
yeah.
Are we on the right show?
There's no clowns or anything in here. So, Shannon said, you're going to have to do a fast five with him. Going like, okay, I will. I will do a fast five. So you didn't catch what the fast five was.
Nope.
I didn't.
Hold on. You know what happens?
It's delayed.
It stopped.
Huh.
So I'm just gonna go. Let's just go live here. I don't know what happened. Doesn't matter. Just hold on, everybody. We're going back. Starting live video. Okay, we're back live again. So let's see. The good thing is, even if that skipped, the recording here that we're doing is continuous. So
Perfect.
it has all the. I think it was when I mentioned Fast Five. I think everybody just cut out and wanted to go. Okay, the Fast Five. Basically, I'm going to ask you 5 things. It could be your favorites, or it could be just a question you have to answer. But it's a Fast Five, so we have to do it kind of quickly.
Got it.
All right. So you don't do it at the same time. Obviously, one person will go first. And who wants to go first?
Eric does.
Eric,
He's
Eric
already
does.
prepped.
Okay.
All right.
You win the lottery. The very first thing you would buy.
Hunting lease.
A hunting lease. Okay. Get away from things. Will?
My house. The rest of it.
There you go, the rest of it. So now you can live in the other half. That would be
Right.
good. Okay. Your favorite ice cream?
Strawberry.
I don't have a favorite ice cream.
You don't?
No. Some days it's vanilla. Some days it's chocolate. Some
Okay,
days
just
it's
whatever,
in
whatever,
between.
whatever fits your fancy for the day. Okay. The thing you do that annoys your wife the most.
Run.
Okay. That's but that was the quickest answer we've had so far there. Will?
I would say pick my teeth at the table before we're done eating. With a toothpick, of course.
With a toothpick, of course.
The right way, but
Okay.
still.
All right, that works. Your favorite hair care product? That came from Shannon. She said, ask him that question. Let's see
Water.
what comes up. Water?
Water.
Water? I'd say, my shaver.
Yeah,
Just
she
to shave it once a
Shannon
week.
said some kind of Gillette gel of some sort for you,
Free.
Will.
Shiny.
No, I just use clippers once a week. Take care of it.
There we go. We keep questions fresh here.
Yep.
Question number 5 stays the same. The rest of them change, but this one always stays the same. Your favorite cartoon character?
Roadrunner.
Nice. Roadrunner, good.
Roadrunner's good. It kind of crosses the line over into superheroes, but I would say Batman.
Batman? Works. That works good. A good Fast Five. Unexpected from these guys. They didn't know that was coming really, but it's always scary to see what kind of questions come up after that. Let's go into the job safety. I think that's very, very, very important. As a driver, what do you, as the object of this safety thing, want us to do? I mean, it's it's kind of like you're driving along, and okay, now what do I do? And then you going like, what are they going to do? What do you want us to? How do you want us to act?
Well, I'd say for cyclists, and there's always such a nice, loving relationship between motorists and cyclists, and I say that with a lot of sarcasm. We know that we are in the way of cars, and cyclists don't ever ride against the flow of traffic. We ride with the traffic. We are supposed to be perceived as a vehicle on the road because.
Hold on just a second. We were talking about that a little earlier about direction. The cyclist's direction is repeat it one more time. So
we are to ride with traffic.
Okay, they're riding with the traffic. Wait, continue.
So yeah, we ride with the traffic, and we are to consider ourselves a vehicle. So we're supposed to stop at stop signs, be in the left-hand turn lane to turn left, etc. But motorists are also to treat us as a vehicle. And there's a tension there because we are a vehicle, but we're topping out at River Road at 20 miles an hour,
Sure.
and they're wanting to go around us, and
Yeah.
they can't get around us, and
Right.
so it's frustrating for motorists. And I've always kind of thought, every cyclist is a motorist, so we get it, but not every motorist is a cyclist.
Okay.
So they don't get it, and it can be frustrating. So
Okay.
I guess what I would say, what we want motorists to do in regards to that is be aware that a cyclist is a vehicle on the road,
Okay.
and that our intention is not to get out and slow you down. Our intention is to get out and enjoy the roads and work out and exercise just like anybody else might exercise.
Right.
It just so happens that we have to share this thing
Sure.
called the road.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Hey, Eric?
Well, first of all, for runners, it is different because we run facing traffic, or just for safety purposes from your own perspective,
Okay.
just to see vehicles that might be.
And that's good to know because I've
drifting
seen
or-
I've seen it all different directions,
Right.
from folks. So.
And I think the most dangerous for pedestrians or runners is the crosswalk areas is where we run into more issues, I think, with traffic, or when people, or we interact with motorists, I guess, the most.
Right.
And
Where you have to stand still and march
Well,
until you get to.
a lot of that, or there's interaction
Running.
where the person in the car is like, and
Okay.
you're looking, saying, they've seen you jog up and stop,
And then they'll
and
let
they
you-
stop thinking you're going to continue
Oh, okay.
jogging. And, the rules are same for a jogger at a crosswalk as they are for a general pedestrian. Is if it says don't cross, you can't cross.
Right.
So-
You just follow. You
right,
just
so-
you follow the rules there.
Right. It is, you do often, especially with younger kids, you see them running with the flow of traffic, and, it's almost to a point where you feel like, as a motorist, you should stop and say, hey, you need to get on the other side. It's a lot safer for you there. Of course, that doesn't happen.
Right.
But it's just, I think, runner education for, the younger generation. But, I think definitely runners have a little bit more control over their safety, being that they should be facing traffic and
Right.
see things rather than having the traffic come from behind them, like what happens with
Well, sure.
bicyclists.
Okay, because I think with the running part of it, since you're seeing what's coming on, you can make the adjustments because they can see you, you see them kind of at the same time. You, on the other hand, you've got like my experience when I left here to go out to L&L during that one marathon that you guys just recently had on River Road. You have to work with the cyclists. What kind of communication? I mean, do y'all teamwork between the driver of the vehicle and the driver of the bike?
Sure, with motorists, yeah, we try to. Just like if you're in a car that's slower than the car behind you,
Uh-huh.
and you can see up the road, you might try to move over and wave them around
Okay.
and to be friendly. We do the same thing on the bike. We know when we're going to be slower going uphill, obviously, because our power doesn't come from a motor; it comes from our legs,
Right.
and we're going to slow down going uphill. We're going to go really fast downhill. If you talk about River Road, a lot of times we'll catch up to cars on downhills
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
curves because
Oh,
we
yeah.
can go through those much quicker than a car. But bottom line is when there's a shoulder, we're going to be on it, and we're going to be out of the main lane on the shoulder. When there's not a shoulder, we're going to try to be, over to the side
Yeah.
as much as we can within safety. If there's vehicles behind us, me personally, I try to keep my speed fairly up. If
Yeah.
I'm just going really slow and feeling slow, I'll pull over sometimes and just let them pass, or I'll look for a driveway that I can go through slowly and let them pass. If I can see clearly enough up the road, and maybe they can't, I'll wave them around with my arm and slow myself down a little bit there too and let them go by. So those are all ways. There's some cyclists I've seen that don't do that very well.
Yeah.
So
They're more
there's
aggravated with the driver than anything else.
Yeah.
So one thing that we always try to do is for the runners and the cyclists is pray for their safety, because it's dangerous. I mean, it is, because it's like a motorcyclist. It's not that people are worried about you; it's worried about you and the other guy not seeing you or something like that. So we just glad you enjoy what you do, and our prayers are for y'all's safety all the time.
Appreciate that.
all the time. Um, got time for a couple of driver fail stories? Any that you can family friendly radio that you could share?
I did. So drivers there's a law that most people don't know in Texas that if you're going to pass a cyclist, you have to give them 3 feet. So if you can't get around him and give him 3 feet of clearance, then you're not allowed to go around him. Most motorists don't know that, and they break that rule a lot. And if you get within 3 feet and you're going 20 and somebody goes by you at 50, it's a little startling. So that's already, it's a risk to get out there and ride, and we know that. We know that we're riding with vehicles that are always going to win the battle if we collide. So we're always going to err on the side of caution. But it doesn't help when you have the motorist that wants to buzz by, maybe honk the horn, do something kind of obnoxious just to be a punk.
Yeah.
And I had a car, so on the motorist fail, I had a car buzz by me on River Road. I was approaching the loop, so I was on my way back. And they buzzed by. It was a carload of young guys. They went by very close to me, almost where they could reach out and touch me.
Yeah.
It made me jump, and then I kind of swerved a little bit on the bike because it just startles you so much. And of course, you immediately, I'm mad. I'm really irritated at them. And I get to the end of River Road, and the Shell station is there, and I see the car that buzzed by me.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So I pulled in, and of course, I'm thinking to myself, I'm a pastor at a church here in town. It's likely I know these kids.
Yeah.
So, they were in the car. They had all stopped to get a drink there at the Shell station. And I rode right up to their car, and they were looking at me like, oh, no. And I just said, I know that can be really fun and funny to scare me and make me jump. But if y'all scare me and make me jump underneath your wheel, you're explaining to my 2 kids and my wife why I'm in the hospital or worse.
Yes.
Because y'all are trying to have a little bit of fun. And that sobered them up some, and I felt like an old dad, but I got the message across.
God, I can't believe that was Pastor Will. You idiot! What are you doing?
Yeah, right.
Golly.
So I just asked for mutual respect and some understanding and some patience goes a long way.
All right. Good story. Can you top that one?
Probably not. No. I've been fortunate. I know that not everyone has. I think probably and I wouldn't say it was the worst thing, but I did one time when I was jogging. It was on the loop, of course. Had somebody call the cops on me because I was actually pushing my son in a stroller, and she called, and of course officers, I guess, because there was a complaint, they have to make an appearance. Sure. Well, they came out, and they've seen me hundreds of times.
Oh yeah.
But that's really the only time. The report was that I was endangering my child, which.
Gosh. Well, I'm sorry that things are just not quite as exciting for you out there.
Boring.
But I've been keeping up on the internet here that the point spread for runners versus cyclists is kind of increasing a little bit in regards to the 40 points. Come on. So no, you're still down low. So hopefully that will never increase enough.
Right.
It's the equipment. It's the equipment
Yes.
price on the points.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Right.
I got a few questions left for you guys. And, with internet radio, we do what we want. And if we have great conversation going, I'm not going to stop just to play some music or have a sip of coffee.
Like you just did.
My wife hates that. She's going to go, oh, why does he do that? What are some ways to prevent injury?
Warm up, stretch, invest in the equipment really is another one. Especially for runners, when you've got 500 or 600 miles on your shoes, it's time to pony up and get a new pair.
Get the new ones.
Because it's surprising how much just a little bit of tread loss on the bottom of your shoe can affect your gait, and you're running. The other thing is most of the roads here are turtle shell type,
right.
So your outside foot is always kind of angled anyway, so your shoe wears awkwardly. So for me, that's the biggest thing, just being being aware that your equipment is going to wear out and you're going to have to replace it. Warming up, stretch. That's and hydrate. Especially that's probably been my biggest struggle. Is I'm not a big fan of drinking water.
Right.
But I try to, especially if I'm going to do a long run.
Okay.
Just because it's not fun to experience the chills at when you're 10 miles from home.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So
Don't crash.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's my biggest way to prevent injury. Yeah, with cycling, I'd say you kind of warm up. I mean, runners do this too, but you stretch a little bit, but you kind of warm up on the bike, the first few miles, and then you really start churning. A runner, you're going to be out there for 30 or 45. Well, Eric is out there for like 5 hours, but most people are out there for 30 or 40 minutes. A cyclist, to get a good ride in, you're going to be gone a couple hours.
Okay.
And so you're kind of warming up as you get going, and then you ride, and then hydration is huge. Food intake is big because again you're out there much longer, so you take something to eat with you so you can refill the tank, and don't crash.
Okay.
I say that kind of jokingly, but
Well, it's our
injuries
if your feet are locked onto those pedals, you ain't got no place to go. But
down hard.
because I know exactly how that feels. Back in the old days when you had the bicycle, you didn't have the locks on your. You had a shoelace that got caught in the.
That's right.
So if you get a shoelace caught on that one side, you're leading to that same side. You ain't gonna go nowhere but down.
That's right.
And I did that once, and very embarrassed, but it happens. So now I've gotten used to being embarrassed, and it doesn't matter.
Amen.
Not anymore. How about some short or long-term goals?
Just for me, I think short term and long term is just to keep doing it as long as I can because I just enjoy being out there.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm hoping. I guess one long term goal is as my kids get older that they'll want to go with me.
Yeah.
And so it'll become more of a
that'd be cool.
a family type run rather than a
just a
intense
Lone Ranger.
Right.
Yeah. That's cool. Very cool. How about you, Will?
Yeah, short-term goals would be just to stay in shape, have that thing to do. And then long-term goals, I've always loved the idea of cycling across the country somewhere. There's a lot of rides that do that, and I don't have the time, or I'm not going to take a vacation. We can be away from my wife just to do that right now, but maybe later.
Okay.
And there's some really big fun rides like up in Colorado that go over these mountain passes that would just be fun, and so those would be some long-term goals to get those in somewhere.
Okay. How about some? We're getting close to the end here, and I want to apologize too. I've had it the phone the Facebook Live thing go off once, but it's gone off 2 or 3 times today that I've restarted. So, but people have been watching. So if it didn't publish, it's all for their photographic memory. They'll remember it. They'll still remember it. But we're still recording the show, so I want to make sure that you guys had something to look back and laugh at, and or whatever you want to do with it. Put in the delete file. It doesn't matter.
Claim to fame.
Right.
I was on the Bruce Allen show.
Step
That's
one.
right. Hey, somebody's got to start somewhere. Words of encouragement for newbies.
For me, I think the biggest thing is on the day that you don't feel like doing it, make sure that you do it, because those are the days where you feel better after doing it.
Okay.
Because it's just like work. You get up one day and you don't want to do it. You don't want to go in.
And once you go,
you're there
Yeah.
and you're like, I'm glad I came in, and it's like that. But I think at even a higher level, because the commitment is to yourself, not to your employer.
that's a good one. That's exactly right. That was kind of like me this morning when I got up, going like, oh, do I want to go in there where they're going to embarrass me in front of my fan? But no. See, I got here, and I knew it was going to be a great show this morning. You guys are fun to have around here. So let's go for you.
Encouragement for beginners. The fun thing about a bike is you can get out there and cover some miles pretty quickly because you have a machine that's helping you. So, maybe drive your bike to the beginning of River Road, and it's just an incredible, beautiful road to go up and down at any time of year. So put yourselves in some nice scenery and take yourself a little bit further than you might go, because again, you have this machine called a bike that'll help get you back. Don't overdo it, and don't forget to unclip when you stop.
Yeah. Whoopsie daisy. Events coming up. Eric, got anything coming up?
No, possibly the Jingle Bell Run.
Okay.
Down in the park, but other than that, no long races.
So when you do the shorter races like that, how many times do you lap people?
No, never. Yeah, I don't think it's ever happened. I do have a funny story from high school when I was running, coach at the time. I was running the 2-mile race, so it was 8 laps around. You get to the bell lap, which is the last lap, and I'm about to lap somebody. Okay. And one of the coaches from the high school was standing on the track, and he said, "Come on, catch up. Come on, Eric, catch up." He didn't. He walked out late, so he didn't know I was about to lap. He thought I was in second place.
That's good.
Oh my gosh, that's good.
Are you still powered by gummy bears?
Still, yeah. That's all I can.
That's all you can.
I have I guess a weak stomach, so I'm not able to really drink fluids. Okay. But I've used gummy bears as fuel, I guess.
They're just longer lasting, I suppose.
Longer lasting. You put them in your cheek and just let them melt, basically.
Wow.
I was his gummy bear station at the Houston Marathon. Houston Tenneco Marathon. Was it still Tenneco? The Houston Marathon years ago, and my job was to be at mile 20 by the time he got there with a fresh supply of gummy bears.
Oh.
That was my job.
Yeah.
So do you have to go with the Haribo or the Haribo?
Haribo. Has to be Haribo.
Because they're more solid.
Right.
Okay, they're not like
tastes better.
Yeah, see the ones I get at HEB, I just put them in my mouth and I just chew them up and they're gone, and it's like that's just. Did you even taste them? Well, no. But see, that's a good way to go with that. Very good. Did we already go through yours?
Was it? Oh, the event coming up?
Yeah.
Is that what we were talking about? The Tour de Green, in fact, public safety announcement, everybody. The Tour de Green is this Saturday, and there will be a lot of cyclists on River Road, on 2722 and the 2163. Is that the connects Sattler? Anyway, so there'll be a lot of cyclists on the road this Saturday, so y'all be careful and watch out. So that is this Saturday morning. Okay, cool. Very cool. I want to thank my guests, Will Stevens and Eric Walker, for coming in, not knowing what they were going to get themselves into, but I think you guys have passed on a lot of helpful and encouraging information for folks that maybe didn't know anything about what it involves in regards to what you do and your safety. And just even the 3-foot rule was that's about the width of an open car door, but you don't want to test it at that point. Just kind of gauge it. Please don't test it that way.
Say a prayer for those guys when you see them out there for their safety, because I know they want to get home to their families just as quickly as you do in your vehicles. So do what you can to watch out for them. This is Bruce Allen with you. We're going to get back to some more music. As a matter of fact, not ironic, but it's how cool this all works out that I have Sunday mornings with Pastor Ray Still, the promo coming up right as I leave here. So I'll be back with you just a few to check out as I say goodbye to my guests. Be right back.